Hello, and welcome back to Minecraft. In this video, or let me give you an update first. This is the first video in about a year. I've been fairly busy over the past year. I went to Israel for a semester, and I've basically just been busy all around. But I'm back now, and back making videos. And in this video, as you can probably tell by the title, I'm giving you a crash course in Redstone. The next video, which will probably come out in about a week, will be on some practical and or impractical uses for Redstone. One of my videos is some devices like that are um, that are in my main map that I haven't really touched in about a year. So, these are the more complex, or these are basically the most important recipes that I think people need to know for Redstone. Over here we've got our good old dispenser, cobblestone pants, a bow, and some redstone. Piston, um, tied with the cake for the single most different materials required in a crafting recipe. Sticky piston, very annoying but very useful to obtain because of the pulling power as well as pushing. Daylight sensor, which is very useful in making time bombs and daytime lamps or nighttime lamps. Tripwire hook, ideal for traps. Redstone lamp, which is useful for lighting purposes. You no longer need to make really complicated light switches. Hopper, great for transferring items and item detection. Dropper, dispensing items but not shooting them. Repeater is extremely important, extending signals. Comparator, used for redstone logic, really. And the trapped chest, which is basically just for traps and triggers. So, I'll go over them a bit more in detail now. Wooden plank, cobblestone steps, cobblestone boots, iron ingot, and redstone for piston. Regular piston and slime ball for sticky piston. 3 nether quartz, 3 glass, and 3 wood for the daylight sensor. Iron ingot, stick, and planks for the tripwire hook. 4 redstone and a glowstone for light. Redstone lamp, that's the word. 5 iron ingots and chest for the hopper. Cobblestone pants, redstone in the bottom, and no bow for the dropper. 2 redstone torches, a piece of redstone, and 3 smooth stone. Note, smooth stone, not regular stone. 3 torches, 1 nether quartz, 3 smooth stone for a comparator, and 1 tripwire hook, and a chest for a trapped chest. Alright, and as for the wall, I didn't want to confuse anyone because before I put this wall up, you could see the redstone devices I had set up back behind it. I'll show those in a later video, but for now, I don't want to confuse anyone. So that's what that is. So the concept of redstone is the wire itself can be on or off, and this allows you to, and if wire is running directly into a block and it is powered, that block is then powered. So, for example, on an inverter, which is really a NOT gate, the output is the inverse of the input. We've got this wire is powered, it's running directly into the block. The block is then powered. So, for example, wait, what? Yeah, okay, hang on. I am very confused at this moment. Okay, we're going to pretend that never happened. So the block basically gets powered, which turns off this torch, turning off this line, turning off the lamp. Lamps are used as really a way of showing that something's going on better than the wire. So that's a NOT gate. Compact repeaters were used prior to the addition of the repeater block, that guy, and they allowed you to send a signal longer distances. It's really, in essence, it's just two torches, two inverters, and it works on a 2-tick delay, or 2/20ths of a second, or a tenth of a second. So that makes it so it's relatively fast, but just something to remember, Redstone computers and devices are slow because it only travels 15 blocks. And by the way, just for comparison, if we didn't have that compact repeater, the power would not reach the light, as you can tell there. So let's turn both these off. And by the way, my system audio setting, my system audio isn't being recorded for now because something's going on. I don't know what's going on. It's just not working. Typo. Well, anyway, so here's an RS NOR latch. It's a memory cell. You can make it more compact. In essence, it just if you power something, it keeps the thing powered. So I'm going to power this light, and it's going to stay on. And you see, because so basically what was going on was this torch was on, which sent power all the way over to here, keeping this torch off and keeping this light on. And that's why these lights are staying on, because the blocks are powered. Now, if I press this button, it'll turn off this torch, turning off this line and allowing that torch to turn on, turning that light off, turning this one on. And that's exactly what happens. Also, the reason for these weird redstones running in the wrong direction, I think it's a bug with Optifine. I've got Optifine installed right now, so yeah, and just by comparison, that turns on, and then it turns off, and also that turned on because of proximity. So, this next gate I want to talk about is an AND gate. AND gates require that both inputs be on for the output to be on. So, both inputs are off. One input's on, one input's off, output is off. Both inputs are on, output is on. And the way this works is this wire runs into this block, turning off this torch. This wire runs into this block, turning off this torch. As long as one torch is powering this piece of redstone, this central torch here will remain off. And what that means is that for as long as in order for this torch to be on, both of these two torches have to be off, meaning both of the inputs have to be on. And I created a 3-way AND switch, AND gate here. It's a bit more complicated. It uses some repeaters because I had to make it not the wires had to not interact. Oh, and the reason for the set time over here is that I've got a system that just keeps it day, and I believe the weather is currently rain, but whatever. And then here's a NAND gate, basically the same thing, except it's an inverse AND gate. So anything so both inputs are on and the output is off. You use AND gates and NAND gates in like locks. So if you wanted to make a combination lock, you'd do that. Alright, next thing is an OR gate and a NOR gate. OR gate, any one input's on, the output's on. And NOR gate is a not OR gate. Then here's an XOR gate, exclusive OR. And what that means is either input can be on for the output to be on, but both cannot be on for the output to be on. So if both are on, the output's on, the output's off. And the reason that happens, if you look carefully, it's actually an AND gate. Kind of. You've got your AND gate here. It's stretched out, but you've also got these torches. So when that torch is flipped, this torch goes out. This torch stays off because this torch stays on. So this torch powers this. This torch is normally powering this torch, keeping the keeping it off. But when it powers it, it's on. But if I power that, you see, this allows it to turn on. However, if I power both, this torch is allowed to turn on, which turns on both lines, which makes it so that the torches cannot turn on. So that's that. Here's a rapid pulsar. Both of these devices have an equal pulse per second rate, meaning that they send the same number of pulses in every second. Basically what happens, I'm just going to explain on this one. It's really just a couple inverters, and that's really all these gates are. They're inverters hooked up in such a way that they work. So we have these torches are. This torch is keeping them all off, but when I flick the switch, it'll allow the torches to turn on briefly, but the torches will power themselves off. And I guess you could kind of call it like something like the grandfather paradox, except it really isn't. If it's on, then it's powering itself off, and that turns off the line, turning it back on, turning it back off again, etc., etc., etc. The reason for 4 is that allows it to not stall. And the same sort of thing here. So if I flick it for a little while, we have it has, wow, that's not something you see every day. This one dispensed 13 arrows. And the reason I know it's the same pulse per second is because they're hooked up to the same circuit on the same timing. Why did it just lag? Okay. That was weird. And yeah, so both of them dispensed 13 arrows in the same timing. I'm just going to fix that. Alright. Last sort of gate I have to set up to show is the pulse extender. Now, the reason for a pulse extender is that a button only provides a pulse for a certain time. And what a pulse extender does is it literally extends that pulse. So we've got that one will turn off long before that one. And the reason this does not create an infinite power loop is because of this diode. But basically what happens here is that power reaches here instantly, but it's also going through here. And by the time it gets out of here, this won't have turned off. So it actually just keeps it on longer. And you can link these indefinitely. But even with these diodes, this diode is instant on its own. Even with them, you actually do need repeaters periodically because the power will die out and then it'll actually take longer than it would if you just had a couple repeaters here and there, or they were needed. So now I'm going to show you the various instant diodes that there are. So here we've got one using glowstone. Flow direction for this diode goes that way, and we can test that. Lights on here, lights on there. Turn that off. And then we can test it here. Lights on here, but not over there. For some reason, redstone power cannot go down glowstone. I don't know why, but it doesn't. So we've got that one. the same thing with slabs. It can't go down slabs or upside down stairs. These two diodes are not instantaneous, but they are fast. These are both one-tick diodes. They're repeaters and comparators. But they do accomplish the task of a diode, which is keep it going. They keep it in one direction. No reference to the band that I personally do not like. So you see, it is only lighting up this portion. And only lighting up this portion. And only lighting up that portion. And now, vertical redstone. Vertical redstone is a problem, especially when you're trying to do it instantaneously, because there's no real easy way to do it. Here's a commonly used torch tower. And the thing is, the delay increases as you go up. It's very annoying. Here is a more compact vertically, but less compact horizontally torch tower. And here's an instant to a degree tower. It's a spiral staircase of redstone, but it's only instant to a degree because it only goes a certain distance. You can't extend it more than like 15 blocks tall without needing a repeater. And then here's vertical down. Again, not instant here, but basically what happens is it powers this one, turning off this torch, turning this off, allowing this one to turn on, and so on and so forth. So if we turn on this one, it goes on, and then here's an instant-ish vertical down. It goes out. Alright, so that's all I had planned for this video. In about a week, a video covering my redstone creations will be out, and that will make it so you can understand some more redstone. I'll give you a preview for now, but until then, I'm signing off, and I hope to see you all for next time. Thanks for watching. F10?